We met through mutual friends. So basically, they spoke amongst themselves and they thought, I think they match. Let's try and match them. Let's see if they like each other. So we first met in my hometown, and from there we had a lovely time. We spoke. When he came over to my city, we spoke. We had spent some time together before he came back to the UK. So yeah, that's how we met. And then we started writing to each other. We started calling each other, and then we started dating.
Well, I came from a relationship that didn't work at all. I dated this person for 8 months, and that's why I believe so much in intelligent love, because at that time I didn't really understand this or practice this. So it was a very emotional relationship. Everyone that I knew could see that this person wasn't good for me. The only person who couldn't see that was myself. And of course, when that relationship ended, it was a little bit hard for me. When I had a chance to meet Helena, we were introduced by someone who knew her from Portugal. So they said, look, maybe this person would be nice for you. Why don't you get to know her? And when I met Helena, I had a very different approach to relationships. I wasn't emotional at all. So I was very much, I wanted to make sure that I was going to get this right. I was a little bit too tough in the beginning. And that's how we met. There's a funny story when I heard from her that she was a certain height. My friend said, listen, it's better for you to stand against the wall and I'll measure you with a ruler just to make sure you're a little bit taller than her.
Before he left to the UK, we had a lot of time to talk. And I asked him many questions and he also did the same. And I saw that we had a lot in common, and we had the same goals. We liked not everything. We didn't like everything the same, but we had lots of common goals. And even the way he is and the way he behaved and the way he spoke and everything, I mean, I got curious and I thought, I think this might be it. So after a month or so, I decided to travel to the UK and spend like a year or so to get to know him better, and that's when we started dating.
I think after a couple of dates, 1 or 2 dates, I really knew I wanted to date her already, straight away. And I remember I asked her a question. We were walking by the beach, and I asked a question, look, where do you see this relationship going? I like you. I believe you like me as well. So I was a little bit confident in saying that. And I said, look, would you like to date me? And she said, look, I never forget her answer because I teased her till today. She said, look, I want to go forward. If you want to go forward with me, let's go forward together. and that's Helena in a nutshell for you. That's why I like her.
One of the first things I noticed about him was that he was very sure of himself. And that for me was like spot on. I used to be very indecisive as a person, and then when I saw that in him, that actually was one of the requirements for me, to see in my future husband, he had to be decisive. So I liked that about him. He was very decisive, very sure of himself, and very gentlemanly. And I don't know, he had this smile and everything about him that I just, couldn't resist, basically. Yeah.
It's interesting because what I liked the most, in a way, is also what I disliked the most. Because I really liked the fact that she was independent, she was outgoing, she was, she wasn't a pushover. She really knew what she wanted. But sometimes that independence went a little bit overboard, and we had some clashes because I was also very independent. So it's like we were pulling to different sides sometimes, and it took a while for us to adjust that. So I really liked the fact that she was very independent. She was mature for her age. She knew what she wanted. She had goals, but sometimes that independence got in the way a little bit.
So what I found the most difficult while dating in the early days was, of course, he was my first boyfriend, and I was very intolerant if I can say so. I was very strict. I had an image of people in my mind that is not real, like, oh, my future husband has to be a certain way. And it wasn't realistic, because I started seeing that people are people. They're not perfect. So I had to be patient. I had to just let go of wrong ideas that I had, and form new ideas and be less strict with what I wanted.
I think what was a little bit difficult in the beginning of our dating period was the fact of the independence that I already spoke about. But I think the main thing is that I wasn't really able to separate, understand that emotions do have a place and feelings do have a place in a relationship, even though they shouldn't override your judgment, your intelligence, your decisions. And I think I was too radical in the beginning, and that caused a few problems. I think I should have been more in tune with, the feelings of the relationship. I was too pragmatic, too radical in that sense. So it took me a little bit to have a balance, I should say. So I think that was a little bit difficult for Helena, for me as well. Not a big deal, because I got there in the end, but it was a little bit difficult.
I guess nobody did. But let me explain. When I moved when I moved to the UK, I kind of knew already what I wanted, and so did he, because we spoke before he left. If we spoke to one another and we asked each other, do you think there is a future here? We were very honest from the beginning, and we knew what we wanted. And of course I was looking for someone, and meeting him was a bonus. So when the time came for us to propose, for us to, should we get married or not, it did not happen the conventional way. We looked at one another. Do you think this is going well? Yes, I do. So let's go for it and see what happens. Basically, that's what happened. We did not have a fairy tale kind of proposal or anything. It was all very here, and that's how it went.
This is a little bit of a strange one, because the thing is, there was a point in our relationship we always knew that we were going to get married. So I don't think there was a proposal. We always said, after I knew her quite well and she knew me quite well, we had the same goal. So we always said, we're going to get married. I don't think there was a proposal as such. We just knew exactly what we wanted together. We wanted the same thing. So it was a natural progression in our relationship. And that always leads me to, I usually say to people that it shouldn't be a surprise whether someone wants to marry you or not. I see a lot of people getting nervous. Oh, if I propose to her, what if she doesn't say yes? I mean, you should know where you're walking together towards, and that was our case. I think after a while of us being together, living together, being married, you start to see a side to the person that you didn't see before, a side that you see every day, and you start to love that side that you didn't see before you were married, before you lived together. So even little things that people consider to be flaws, which I don't see as flaws. It's what characterizes that person for us. It's a side to her that only I know that exists. Even her mom doesn't know. So I think that's what made me learn to love her even more, because only I have access to that side.
It's true. And it's like this. When we were dating, I thought to myself, okay, we've had quite a lot of arguments, because we used to argue about silly things, silly things, many silly things. So I thought to myself, okay, I can handle this. And when he gets nervous or when he gets upset, I can so handle it. So I thought, this is the guy for me, you know what I mean? It was just, can't even explain it. I'm not going to talk about the pizza incident.
That's for another show.
You have to stick around. So, there's things that are unique to him. And, that, in the beginning of our marriage, it was a big deal. But then it was just like, you know what, let him be him. Give him space. you've got so many flaws as well. So what's the point of you stressing over small things? Doesn't make sense. So
So in a nutshell, we accepted each other.
yes. I think we've kind of respect each other more. And my husband, I think, gave up on trying to organize me.
I still try a little bit, but it's not going to happen, so I gave up. And that's it.
Yeah, that's it really. It's a daily thing, we can't really say, oh, it's this and that. As it comes, you deal as it comes, and I think humbleness plays a big role in us having a good relationship. I cannot want to be right every time, and him as well. Sometimes I have to accept that my will not be done, and his will be done, and vice versa. Yeah.
So it's a compromise. Sometimes you have to take the rough with the smooth, as they say, but you learn to love those parts as well. And I think that's what did it for us.